So what do you need to do to protect this data? The first thing you need to do is restrict access to it to as few people as possible. So if someone doesn't need access to sensitive data, don't give them access. And if someone no longer needs access that they once needed, revoke it. The fewer people that have access to fewer places it's located, the less likely it's going to be stolen or misused. If you have a wireless network in your office, make sure that you're using WPA2 encryption. Other methods of encryption of wireless networks are just too easy to circumvent. And an even better tip is, if you don't have to, don't use wireless access at all. That's the best way to avoid having it compromised. And if you're not sure if your wireless network is using WPA2 or not, in Windows at least, you can check in the control panel under Managing Wireless Networks. The second column here will tell you what kind of security the network has. You can see our Wi-Fi network here is using WPA2. If you have a portable device, a laptop or smartphone or thumb drive or what have you, any kind of portable storage, you need to both password protect that storage and encrypt PII, encrypt any of that personal data. One without the other is not enough. And in addition to limiting access through the computer to this information, you need to lock storage rooms and filing cabinets with paper documents, and you need to restrict access to the actual equipment for your IT infrastructure, the network equipment, the servers, and the phone system. And as I said, if you're not using information anymore, destroy it. That goes for old computers and, believe it or not, copy machines. Copy machines are so technologically sophisticated these days, they actually store images of what you've previously copied or scanned or faxed. There's an article about that on A4A as well. This slide is sort of a generalization, but it talks about some of the issues to consider when selecting applications, whether you're going to select a desktop application that's installed on your local machine or your local network versus using a web-based application. So web-based applications are obviously accessed over the internet. So there's a means for hackers to try and attack that system through the network, since it's accessible from the internet, whereas a locally installed desktop application is much less likely they're going to have access to the network at all and be able to attack that system, although you do need proper security like firewalls and whatnot on your network, or you could be vulnerable. Web applications are hopefully and often installed and maintained by professional IT staffs who are trained and knowledgeable in security for securing the physical environment and the network with firewalls, and they're trained to create redundant infrastructure to protect against disaster and theft. They also know how to either automate or are diligent about updating the operating system and the software frequently. So one of the main reasons for updates for operating systems and software is to repair vulnerabilities to hacking. Whereas desktop environments, if you haven't installed yourself, it's typically more vulnerable to theft or disaster, because you're not going to have redundancy, you're not going to have as much physical security, and you have to be responsible yourself for maintaining updates on your operating systems and your software. Now these are all generalizations. There's many factors that go into security. These are just some things to think about.